Try to run through these rather quickly. For this first one, identify the transformations in the domain and range. So there's a couple things that are going on, guys. I see I have a negative outside of the, well, actually, first of all, let's look at our parent function. Our parent function is the exponential equation. Okay? And remember, e is a number. It's not a variable. All right? That could be e 2 to the x, 3 to the x. Those are all exponential equations. All right? So in this case, we have e, which is going to be a constant, which we'll talk about later. So if we have this, then our transformations, kind of like what we did in our notes, is really going to be e to the x. And let's do, there's no b, so there'd be x minus c plus d. That's like our basic transformations there. So therefore, you can see here, all right, we have a negative, right? So that is, since that negative is outside of the function, right, it's outside of e to the x, that's going to be a reflect the x-axis. We have a 1/2 being multiplied to the function, so it's outside of the function. So that is going to be a vertical compression of 1/2. Okay? And then you can see we have this plus 3, and that's inside the function. Why is it inside the function? Because it's inside the power, right? The function x is the power, so anything up there is inside the function. Now, some of you guys get confused. Well, the plus 3, the minus 3, again, oh, I kind of remember it's to the left, but why? Well, again, you guys could write this like this. Instead of writing x plus 3, you could write it as x minus negative 3, meaning c is negative 3, right? Moving to the left. So it's a shift left 3. All right, so now to identify the domain and range, I think it's best to make sure we know what the parent graph looks like. So let's graph e to the x. E to the x on your parent graph looks like this. That is the parent graph. So now let's go with all the transformations. This graph is being reflecting, so it's going to be flipped over. It's being compressed, and it's being shifted left 3. So this coordinate point, 0, 1, we know is being moved to the left 3 units. Right? There is a horizontal asymptote here. All right? But the graph is now being reflected about the x-axis. So if this was at negative 3, if it's being reflected over and then being shifted left 3, that point's going to be down there. And then I'm not really going to do I'm not really worried so much about the compression. But that's going to be your f of x. OK, got shifted left 3 and then reflected. So you can see that the domain, right? So the only thing that happened with the domain, guys, is it got shifted. But the domain originally is all real numbers, right? So if the domain is originally all real numbers, does it matter if you shift it left or right? No. So we can just say that the domain is from negative infinity to infinity. The range of this function was from 0 to infinity. And if we're reflecting it down, I didn't shift it up or down. So the asymptote is still at 0. But now the range is going to be from negative infinity to 0. And again, understanding there's a horizontal asymptote tells us that this graph is never going to reach 0. Well, not never, but you can see it's approaching that value 0. So therefore, 0 is undefined. Anybody have any questions before I move on to that one? Yes? Excellent question. No. Yes, you may. Yes, you may. Up there on the right.